Well, hello, friends. If I sound or look different today, there's a reason. This is Kirsten, your decision coach for the episode, and we are recording in Toronto in an impromptu studio, which means just my laptop. And I wish you could see the view if you're watching this right now. My husband's apartment, where he is staying for the, I don't know, 4 months for filming this show right now in Toronto, has such a great view of the water. And it's like, it's just sweeping views up here, but it doesn't show up on camera. So I apologize that all you can see is like part of my kitchen. But we are doing what we can, needs must. We did not bring any recording equipment with us. So we're going to do our best to look and sound as non distracting as possible so you can get the meat of this episode because we have important stuff to talk about today. So, traveling a lot this year already has got me thinking about the friction we can encounter in our decision making. And today we're going to talk about one of the most draining and frustrating habits that no matter what a new client comes to work with me for, this comes up and we end up working on this so we can just remove that friction as much as we can from daily life. And that friction is constant second guessing. This energy suck, this mind melting habit that we can get into of not being able to simply move from point A to point B from what's the question, what's the decision, what are the options, what's the choice with ease, with relatively little friction. The reason this came up in my thinking about my travels is because there are so many decisions we can make on a daily basis, just in normal, regular life. And I feel like that's highlighted when you're constantly moving around, constantly changing environments, constantly looking ahead and having the opportunity to make a lot of plans. The amount of decision making we have in any version of normal, quote unquote, everyday life, pretty staggering. So if you are in one of those places where second guessing your choices is getting in the way of your life feeling easy, this is what this episode is going to help you out with. Okay. We need to talk about it. And there's a big misunderstanding that we need to clear up right from the start about second guessing. And it is this, that it happens in the first place because you are not good at making decisions. That's not actually where second guessing comes from. Second guessing is a habit that we reinforce based on where we focus after a choice. It is actually so much in our control. And that is a great thing. That is good news, because that means we can change this habit. But it doesn't have anything to do with how good you are at categorizing information and running through options in your mind. It's not about any of that. It really comes down to where are you focusing after you make a choice. The more you focus automatically on what could have been, what might have been, what should have been after every decision you make, the more you train yourself not to trust your choices. So this indecision, second guessing loop keeps itself alive. It is like a self-sustaining habit loop that you could just live inside forever. So I really want you to try coming on board with me. Even if you think, Kirsten, I do have to get better at making good decisions. The more good decisions I make, the less I will second guess because the easier it will be for me to believe my decisions are good. I hear you. I'm validating all of your thoughts and feelings right now. Let's just go along with this idea for a few minutes and see if we can actually change your habit faster. Because I can hear you. I can hear your thoughts. I can hear you thinking, no, I just need to get better at making good decisions. The second guessing is helpful. It is protecting me from making more and more mistakes. Yes, and we need to look at your post-decision attention and where it is going. Because if you're in the habit of second guessing, my prediction is that your post-decision attention is going to the negative. I want you to imagine for me for a second, a hallway full of doors. Making a decision is like opening a door and walking through it. Now, where does your attention go once you walk through it though? You might have ordered what you ordered for dinner. You might have booked the vacation destination that you booked. You might have put on the outfit you decided to put on. Whatever the stakes of the decision door you walk through, once you walk through it, where's your attention? Is it living into that choice you've made? Does your attention go into fully inhabiting this new room and keeping going in this direction that you've chosen? Or does your attention immediately go to all of those doors you didn't walk through? Let me tell you the truth. You cannot build confidence if every one of your decisions gets mentally undone the second you make it. And I do want to stress that we are talking about low and high stakes decisions here. Clients come to me all the time when we are reviewing what's going well, what's working. They will come to me and say, you know what? Last Tuesday, all of a sudden we realized the kids needed new coats because the weather was changing faster than it normally does and they had outgrown their stuff. And that would have taken me in the past an entire week. I would have been late for every single thing that day because I would have had to dive down these rabbit holes of research and I would constantly second guess. Wait, is this the best option? Is that going to be good enough? Am I going to regret that? Am I considering the right things here? It would have been a long, stressful process. I would have made a decision eventually, and I wouldn't have even trusted it fully. And in the session where they are reflecting, they tell me, yeah, I just decided to make the choice that I made. And then I decided it was going to be great. And then we had the coat, and my life went on with relative ease. And they are so happy. But this also trickles up into larger life choices. I remember a client who was telling me about a job decision that she was working through, which was a big decision. It was going to mean a move for her whole family. It was going to mean a deviation from a path she was clearly on. Even that process of step-by-step, decision after decision, she was explaining to me, you know what? In my former mindset, I would have second-guessed every single thing that I thought I wanted or that I thought I discerned about a situation. I would have never been able to move confidently through this process. And I don't know where it would have ended up. So I know we started our episode today talking about the daily decisions that can just end up feeling full of friction and the second guessing that can just lead our minds to melt because we're like, why can't I just pick a coffee? But as we like to say here in the Decision Masters Corner of the Universe, the small things are the big things. So this is a habit that is worth changing if you got them. What you are going to start practicing, what you're going to start getting better at on purpose is walking through your decision doorway and living into that choice. Holy moly. Okay, though, what if you do not like the consequences of your decision? I know, 1 second. I want to be clear. When we talk about post-decision attention, we are not saying you need to only see positives and gaslight yourself into believing that you like everything in front of you, even if you don't. I'm going to let you in on a little secret of the human mind. It will highlight the negatives for you automatically. What it will not do automatically with ease until you make it a habit is highlight the good and neutralize the non-essential. Here's what I mean. Let's say you're on a dog walk right now. You decide to get home and make yourself a smoothie. Great. Sounds like a lovely day. Now, if this is a choice that you're making that's in alignment with your goals and values because you are trying to be more nutrition conscious and trying to be better about taking breaks and not just immediately diving into work without thinking about it, if there are many reasons that this is a good choice in your life, or if you just want a smoothie and you're like honoring what you want, and that's what you do. If this is a good choice for you and it doesn't have any fireworky consequences, positive or negative, you're probably not going to notice it. Your brain is not going to think on its own, you know what? That was a great decision. Let's acknowledge that. Now, if you make a smoothie that tastes terrible for some reason, or you do dive immediately into work because you started reading your emails while you were unlocking your door, and then all of a sudden you were on your email, and then you were working before you even recognized that you were working, and then you got into that trap that you've been trying to get out of, those are things that your brain will highlight. Wow, this smoothie is super terrible. Why did you waste your time making such a disgusting thing? Or however attitudey your brain gets. It will say 20 minutes into your impromptu work session, oh, you know what? That was a dumb decision. Why did we start working? Why didn't we get ourselves like 5 minutes to get a glass of water? Here we go again. You're always doing this. My point is, your brain is good at many things, my friend. And one of them is highlighting the decisions you make that you don't like. What we are talking about in today's episode is actually quite simple. We're talking about balancing the scales. We're talking about building up your muscle of highlighting the good decisions you make. And I'm telling you in advance, you're probably going to have to look kind of hard for them because you're making a lot of decisions in your day that you probably like, but that are not rose parade worthy. They are not resulting in fireworks of celebratableness. And that's okay. Because another thing you're getting good at is neutralizing the non essential. When you're in the habit of second guessing, you're usually entertaining every suggestion from your brain to criticize a choice you just made. You walk through the door, your brain immediately thinks, you know what, though? That other door, that had this pink, shiny aura on it. And that other door down the hall kind of smelled like tangerines were coming there. Those would have been good decisions to actually even consider, but we didn't walk down the hallway. So we should probably not focus on the decision we've just made. Look at that. You've already lost sight of where you've even walked into. You are not living in the decision you've made. So when you're in a second guessing habit, you are automatically entertaining all of these suggestions from your brain to criticize and question your choices. But here's another truth coming at you. Are you ready? Not all of these suggestions are worth entertaining. So what you're going to start doing is neutralizing the non-essential criticisms and judgment. You're actually going to tell your brain, you know what? This decision's good enough. We don't have to question whether or not that pink aura door was going to be better. We chose this flight. It's booked and we're committed to it. We don't actually have anything to gain from thinking about and stressing about, should we have booked the flight that was 2 hours later? And should we have actually flown through a different layover destination, blah, 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 blah. You are going to put yourself in charge of saying, you know what? That's not an essential data point, and it requires no further investigation. Unsurprisingly, today's guidance comes with some talking to yourself, as most of our guidance does here, because you're retraining your brain and you're letting yourself know we don't want to continue making choices in the way we have before. And second guessing is going to feel really natural because it is the path of least resistance. So you're going to have to constantly pick yourself up off that path and lovingly nudge yourself in another direction. And you're going to have to know it will feel uncomfortable. It will feel out of step with how you normally make decisions. And that's the goal. If you have to come up with some mantras or some affirmations or some anchor thoughts to help you remember, oh yeah, we're practicing standing by our choices, that's fine. Do that. It can be as simple as, hey, remember, we're practicing standing by our choices. So when you order something at dinner and then your mind wants to go down the rabbit hole of, oh my gosh, should we have done this other thing? Should we have gotten this? Oh my gosh, am I going to regret my entire life because we didn't get the right thing for dinner? You're going to breathe and you're going to tell yourself, we're practicing standing by our choices. I made my choice for a reason. I'm allowed to stand by it. I can survive any consequence of this. The point is that I trust my choice. Of course, I could have done something differently, but this is how I did it, and I'm going to stay on my own team. What we're really talking about is changing the habit of second guessing during the decision-making process. This is where the friction is really felt the most. When you feel yourself not making a choice, you can feel the stuckness and you can feel the clock ticking away and the frustration rising that, oh my gosh, how has this already taken 40 minutes and we haven't even made a decision? I understand that is the pain point we're addressing here, but I'm telling you, if you make your focus where your attention goes after the decisions you're making, you're going to make this habit change so much faster. So I really want you to go into your real life after this episode and practice standing by your choices, not the ones you genuinely feel deep emotional regret for. Okay? Don't go bananas here and make this all or nothing and use this guidance against yourself. We're not saying you have to love every choice 100%. We are saying you have to practice standing by your choices. And the low stake ones are the perfect ones on which to practice. So when you order the dinner or when you pick the present or when you do something that has the potential to spark the second guessing spiral, I want you to use it as an opportunity to embrace potential imperfection and practice standing by your choice. Maybe even say, this was a good choice. Practice making your peace more important than making the perfect decision. Let me say that again. Practice making your mental peace more important than perfection in every decision. This is how you are going to end up feeling in control of when you question and when you don't. Some decisions are worth the check back, are worth the, are we sure about that? Do we want to change something before we keep going down this road? or through this doorway, but not every decision is worth that. Most actually aren't. So we are going to get you better at discerning when you actually want to listen to that voice that's like, I don't know about that, and when you don't, because you simply don't need to. Okay, so practice this week, scan for your post-decision attention and really let yourself visualize going through the door and just being like, oh, right, this is the door we've gone through. Where can we go from here? And how can we stay on our own teams about it? If you need some more help not mentally spiraling post-decision, I will point you towards episode 140. It is the revisit of a classic episode of the Decision Masters podcast. It's about where your attention goes once you've made a decision and you're not living in it. It is lovingly nicknamed the Raoul episode because it is all about the romanticized alternate universe that our brains lie to us about. So I will point you there if you really want to keep digging into this. How do I control my post-decision attention stuff? And if you want direct help standing by your choices and interrupting the second-guessing pattern and pulling out these friction moments from your day-to-day so you really feel more confident and feel more decisive, then it's probably time for us to talk. So make sure you click the link in the show notes, get on my calendar so we can have a no pressure, just human-to-human conversation about if we're a fit to work together. Or you can send me an inquiry form and get the conversation started to see what kind of coaching can we do and how can I get out of this second-guessing habit, because I'm tired of wasting my own time and being so frustrated. I would love to help you with that. And like I said, my clients have the best time letting me know how much time and energy they saved just removing the drama and trusting their choices. It's the best. So I'll talk to you soon if it's time for us to talk. And in the meantime, have fun standing by your choices this week. Bye from Toronto. See you next time.
Hey, want to find out your decision style? Obviously, go take the decision style quiz. It's in the show notes and at kirstenparker.com/quiz. We all have our style when it comes to making decisions, but do you know how to use your default way of thinking to your advantage? Or do you mainly get stuck in the most annoying parts of overthinking and people pleasing? The decision style quiz has your answers, my friend. Take it right now at kirstenparker.com/quiz.